All right, red lovers, get ready to be wowed because we're dipping into the Daou Reds, and every single one is special, beginning with the Petite Sirah, which is what we've just poured, which is a nice dark wine, but it's something that I don't think you need to necessarily have food with.
Correct, absolutely. This is a wine that can be had on its own. You come from a long day at work and you just want to have a little glass of wine before dinner, not necessarily with any food. It's easy to just pop it and have a glass of wine, and it would actually do very well on its own.
All right, tell me about the 2010.
So, first of all, it's interesting to say that there is no such grape in France called Petite Sirah. The grape in France is called du Rif. And when it was brought to the United States, they looked at it and they go, it looks like Syrah, but it's smaller, so we're going to call it Petite Sirah. So actually, if you tell a French person, I'm having some Petite Sirah, I remember the first time I mentioned it to my mentor, she goes, Petite Sirah, what is that?
Really?
I've never heard of it. So when I said du Rif, she goes, oh, okay, I know du Rif.
Du Rif.
Du Rif, the D-U-R-I-F.
Du Rif.
Du Rif. So it's a grape that grows typically in the southern part of France. Petite Sirah is called du Rif, and usually it's made for blending. Here in the United States, it's received an incredible following. People love the big, dark, chewy kind of reds. So I made it because I enjoy it, and I like making it, and I like drinking it. It's a wine that has a lot of color. It's extremely dark.
Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of wineries use it actually as a blender to give color to a wine. So they may blend it with a Zinfandel, or they may blend it with a Syrah, or they may blend it with something else just to give it color. But this is actually a 95% Petite Sirah, and I added a little Viognier in it. It's got 5% Viognier.
Ah.
So it had so much color that I wanted to give it a little bit of a more aromatic, so I blended a 5% Viognier, which is a white grape, with it.
Now, a Petite Sirah, I think a lot of people think Syrah and then Petite Sirah is, because it's so dark, it's the next heaviest wine, and it's actually the opposite, right?
Well, it is a darker wine than actually Syrah. It's a wine that Syrah is different. Syrah is going to be a little more spicy.
Right.
There's really, even though there is some talk that there could be some generic relation between both, really they're different grapes. They're totally different grapes.
And if you haven't seen Petite Sirah grapes, they're just adorable.
Yeah, they
right?
are. They are, absolutely.
They're just beautiful to have out on the
They
plate.
are.
Unfortunately, harvest is over, so we don't have any out today. But we have the wonderful results. Cheers.
Very earthy. That earthy character just comes out really nice from the soil. Most of the wines I work with come from what we call calcareous clay soil. And the reason I like these soils, in France we call them argilo-calcaire, and they're the most famous soils. So a lot of French people tend to travel the world looking for these soils. And one of the only places to find them in the United States is actually in Passe-Robles.
And so that's where when you say we're tasting the soil, we're actually tasting the soil because the vines are going down, right?
Correct.
And just sucking that calcareous
and reflecting basically
moisture.
the soil's character into the wine. So one thing that is very apparent here is the minerality, that minerality that you feel. You can actually almost taste the earth into that wine. And that is one of the things that's beautiful about Petite Sirah and on that soil.
And one of the things that's special about the Passe-Robles wine region, and one of the reasons that you chose this, is it is one of the few regions where we have this kind of soil in beautiful settings like this.
Yep, absolutely, and it's really the main reason I came here at first. The soil, the climate, as we call it, terroir, is truly incredible for making wine. You have the warm days, so you do get the warm days to ripen the grape, but then you get the very cool nights. You have what's called the Templeton Gap. That's from here about 13 miles from the ocean. You can feel that wind right here that hits us from the ocean and cools down the temperature throughout the day, but especially at night. So the grapes are able to not just thrive during the day because they have tremendous sun to ripen, but they have the cold at night to really maintain the acidity, and then the minerality from the soil. All three factors contribute to incredible wines.
Okay, that's good. That I knew that it was always good that they cool down at night, but it's because you want to retain
the acidity.
The acidity.
So if it was just warm at night, during the day and warm at night, you would drop so much acidity that the wines would tend to be flat, and they wouldn't develop that kind of beautiful acidity and color that you need.
We have it.
Cheers.
So do you. Cheers.